You clicked this video because something inside you longs for peace. Maybe you've been riding the highs and lows of emotions, anger, anxiety, confusion without a compass. Maybe you've had days where you wake up already tense, already behind, already tired of your own thoughts. And you're wondering, is there a way to finally slow it all down? There is, and it's not a quick fix, not a shortcut, not a trend. It's a mindset, an ancient one that's endured for over 2,000 years, one that whispers strength, not volume, one that teaches you to breathe through storms rather than beg for silence. That mindset is Stoicism. I didn't find Stoicism in a classroom. I found it in the middle of a panic attack, when the noise in my mind had reached a pitch I could no longer bear. I opened Meditations by Marcus Aurelius almost randomly and read, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." It hit me like a pause button on the chaos. That was the start. Since then, I've been living with Stoic principles, not perfectly, but consistently. And in this video, I want to share with you how Stoicism transformed my emotional well-being. Together, we'll explore 9 Stoic strategies, each rooted in timeless wisdom, each delivered with modern clarity, and each designed to bring you from emotional turbulence to steady ground. So, if any part of you is craving that quiet, if your mind feels like an overfilled inbox with no off switch, you're in the right place. Take a moment, inhale, and if you find this journey helpful, you might want to subscribe, not for me, but for the version of you that will thank you a month from now. Let's begin. Number 1, accept the uncontrollable. You wake up with a plan, but by noon, everything has unraveled. Traffic jam, unexpected bills, a text that ruins your mood before you even respond. You clench your jaw. You ask why this always happens. You try to fix what can't be fixed, and slowly, silently, your peace evaporates. That's where Stoicism enters like a lighthouse through fog, not to change the storm, but to guide you safely through it. At the heart of Stoicism is a powerful insight, one that has rescued me again and again. Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. Epictetus. There are 2 types of events in this life, those you can control and those you cannot. Your thoughts, your choices, your reactions, that's yours. But the weather, other people's moods, your past, your genetics, the traffic light turning red, not yours. And yet, we spend hours trying to rewrite reality, fighting the wind, arguing with the rain, wishing others behaved differently. Can you feel the weight of that? The silent tension of trying to grip the ocean. Let's pause here. Imagine you're a sailor. A storm is coming, dark skies, roaring waves. Do you scream at the clouds, or do you trim your sails, adjust your course, and ride through it? That's what this principle teaches you. Accept what you cannot steer and focus all your energy on the rudder that is your own mind. So, how do you practice this? Not just know it, but live it. Start here. Whenever you feel tension, that heart-tightening, breath-shortening pressure, pause and ask yourself this question: is this within my control or not? Take a notebook or just a mental list. Write down what's bothering you right now. Be honest. Now circle only the parts that depend on your choices. The rest, that's wind, that's weather. You're not meant to control it. You're meant to sail through it with dignity. This isn't giving up. It's not apathy. It's freedom. Because when you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you reclaim the power you do have. And from there, peace begins. Of course, this takes practice. You'll forget, you'll react, you'll try to rewrite the storm. But each time you remember, each time you pause and ask, is this mine to manage you? Build a new habit. And over time, what used to ruin your day will barely touch your inner stillness. You'll be like a tree in strong wind, bending, but not breaking, rooted deep, responding with wisdom. Now pause again, reflect gently. Which current anxiety belongs to the sea, and which to your rudder? Choose wisely. Your calm depends on it. Number 2, reframe every hit as fuel. You're blindsided again. The job offer falls through. The person you trusted lets you down. Your plans unravel and it stings. You mutter, "Why does this always happen to me?" You clench your fists. You replay it again and again. But in that loop, pain becomes poison. Unless you shift your view, unless you see this not as a curse, but as a crucible. Because the Stoics believed something radical. Not just that we should endure what happens, but that we should embrace it. That's the idea behind one of Stoicism's most powerful principles, Amor, Fati, a Latin phrase that means love of fate. Love it, yes, even that. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius. It's not just about surviving hardship, it's about welcoming it as your next training ground. Picture this: a piece of pottery, delicate, broken, flawed, but then a craftsman picks it up and repairs it with gold. Now, it's more beautiful, more valuable, not in spite of the cracks, but because of them. This is the Japanese art of kintsugi, and it's a perfect metaphor for amor fati. You see, we're all broken in places, but if we meet pain with curiosity, with craftsmanship, we don't just heal, we transform. So what does this look like today, in real life? It starts with one word: good. When life throws you a punch, you say, good. Now I can practice patience, good. Time to sharpen resilience, good. A test of who I say I am. You're not pretending the pain doesn't exist. You're not suppressing emotion. You're simply choosing to assign meaning, to turn pain into purpose. Let's break it down. Someone insults you. Good. Practice emotional control. You fail publicly. Good. Learn humility, adapt, and grow. You're rejected. Good. Strengthen self-worth from the inside. Each hit becomes a rep. Each scar becomes a signature. You're not the person who breaks. You're the one who builds. Every setback is a sculptor's hand chipping away who you are, not revealing who you are. But make no mistake that this isn't easy. It's not natural. We all want to resist, to recoil, to run. That's why this principle takes choice. Not once, but daily. You might start small. One moment today, something doesn't go your way. And instead of spiraling, you pause, breathe, and whisper, good. That's how it begins. And slowly, beautifully, you rewire your response. Your nervous system learns that not all friction is threat. Some of it is fuel. You become like fire. Throw anything in and it only grows. Now, let this question settle gently in your mind. How might today's crack invite veins of gold tomorrow? Hold that thought, because the next time life strikes, you won't just endure it, you'll shape it. Number 3, preview the worst treasure, the now. You wake up, and before your feet hit the floor, your mind starts racing. What if the meeting goes badly? What if the money runs out? What if they leave? What if I fail? And so the day begins not in present speed, but in panic. You try to stay positive, you repeat affirmations. But under it all, there's a quiet hum of fear, a background noise of what-ifs that never really goes away. The Stoics didn't silence these fears by pretending they didn't exist. They faced them directly, not to drown in dread, but to train their hearts for reality. One of their boldest practices was called Premeditatio Malorum, the premeditation of evils. It might sound dark, but it's not about pessimism. It's about clarity, presence, gratitude. He robs himself of the present who worries about the future. Seneca, what does that mean for you? It means this. Instead of being haunted by vague, swirling fears, you give them shape. You sit down. You name what could go wrong. You walk through the fire in your mind before it burns you in real life. And once you've done that, the fear softens, because now it has a face. It's no longer a ghost. Here's a simple way to begin. Each morning, Take 3 minutes, just 3. Close your eyes. Picture one thing today not going your way. You miss the train. You spill coffee on your shirt. You get bad news. Feel it, not to scare yourself, but to prepare yourself. Then shift, open your eyes, and list 3 things you're grateful for right now. Maybe it's your breath, your warm bed, the soft morning light across your wall. Suddenly the moment becomes vivid, the fear smaller, the present brighter. It's like running a fire drill for your soul. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but it's also wise. Because when the smoke comes, you already know where the exits are. The result, you stop being stunned by life's surprises and start meeting them with quiet readiness. But there's more, something deeper. By imagining loss, you remember value. You stop taking things for granted. You notice the tiny joys, the ones that were always there waiting for your attention, like a bird outside the window, or the way your tea smells in the afternoon, or a text from someone who didn't have to check in but did. Loss teaches presence. Fear, when faced, teaches appreciation. This doesn't mean living in dread. It means living more fully, more awake, like walking through life with your eyes wide open instead of squinting and bracing for impact. Now, ask yourself gently, if this were suddenly gone, what simple joy would I miss most? Let that answer rise. And when it does, savor it. This moment, this breath, this life, it's already enough. Number 4, anchor in the present moment. You're walking through your day, but your mind is somewhere else. You're in a meeting, but replaying a conversation from yesterday. You're eating lunch, but worrying about tomorrow's deadline. You're home with people you love, but lost in your phone, scrolling past moments that could have been yours. The world moves fast, but the real storm, it's inside. Thoughts are darting like fish in murky water, memories pulling you backward, worries dragging you forward. And yet, all you really have is now. That's the Stoic lesson, not just mindfulness, but mastery of attention. Confine yourself to the present. Marcus Aurelius, 6 words, but they hold peace like a deep, still lake. The past can't be touched, the future not yet born. But this moment, this inhale, this exhale, it's yours. Imagine your mind is a lantern, but instead of lighting where you stand, you shine it miles ahead or behind. No wonder you trip. No wonder life feels foggy. You're not here. So how do you return? How do you anchor yourself in this exact breath, this step, this beat of the heart? Start simple. Right now, pause. Close your eyes just for a moment. Feel your body. Where are your hands? What do your feet touch? Can you hear something distant? Maybe a bird, maybe the hum of a fridge, maybe your own breathing. That's it. You've arrived. And this isn't about perfection. You'll drift again. The mind is slippery, always scanning, planning, remembering. But with practice, you become the one who notices, the one who guides the beam back, like a lighthouse fixed steady even as waves crash around it. You can build rituals for this, tiny anchors throughout the day, a warm cup of tea held not just sipped, a walk where your phone stays in your pocket, one bite of food truly tasted. Each act a sacred return to the now. And here's the shift. When you master presence, you shrink anxiety, because anxiety feeds on the future. It can't survive in the current moment. And guilt belongs to the past. It loses power when you stand fully in today. So when chaos rises, don't escape, arrive where you already are. Because right here in this ordinary moment is calm, quietly waiting to be chosen. Now, breathe slowly and ask yourself, what single sound can pull you back to shore right now? Listen for it, let it find you. And remember, this moment is not a stepping stone, it's the whole path. Number 5, count the hidden riches. You scroll through social media and it starts. The comparison, the quiet envy, their vacation, their new job, their perfect skin, perfect smile, perfect life. And then, without permission, a shadow creeps over your life. Your home feels smaller, your achievements dimmer, your face in the mirror not quite enough. You feel it, don't you? That tightening in the chest, that whisper that says you should be more, you should have more, you're falling behind. But Stoicism offers a mirror of its own, not one that reflects comparison, but clarity. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Epictetus, few wants, fewer cravings, less reaching, more seeing, noticing, remembering, appreciating. Imagine this: you're walking a long road. You keep looking at the signs, the goals, the miles ahead. And because your eyes are always there, you miss the wildflowers blooming at your feet. That's what life becomes when you forget to count your hidden riches. So many of us think gratitude should arrive after success, after we reach the goal, after we fix what's broken, after life finally feels like a highlight reel. But the Stoics flipped that. Gratitude isn't the result. It's the fuel, it's not the cherry on top. It's the quiet fire beneath it all. So how do you live this today? How do you shift from envy to enough simple? Tonight before bed, ask yourself one question. What 3 ordinary things made today easier, more beautiful, more bearable? Maybe your morning coffee. Maybe a dog wagging its tail at you. Maybe the way someone said your name kindly. These aren't luxuries, they're anchors. When you start seeing them, when you collect them gently, your life begins to glow in places you'd stopped looking. Keep a small journal. Call it the Hidden Riches Log. Each night, write just 3 lines. No pressure, no poetry, just truth. And soon, you'll start scanning the day for beauty, for comfort, for gifts, because you know you'll be logging them later. And this changes you. It rewires you. You go from seeing what's missing to seeing what's already there. You'll realize that hot shower after a long day, that's wealth. The roof over your head, wealth. The friend who texts back when you're low, incredible wealth. You've been rich all along. Now pause, breathe, and gently ask yourself, which overlooked comfort already makes you richer than you admit? Let that answer rise. Let it warm you and let it follow you into tomorrow like a small flame, steady, silent, sacred. Number 6. Choose your circle. Choose your character. You leave a conversation and something feels off. Maybe you were laughing, but your chest feels tight. Maybe you nodded along, but part of you felt smaller. You can't explain it, but something inside whispers, that wasn't right. Here's the truth: the Stoics knew deeply the people around you shape you. Their energy becomes your atmosphere. Their words echo in your mind. Their fears sometimes become your own. Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Seneca. It sounds simple, but in practice, it takes courage. It takes clarity. It takes choosing what nourishes you over what's familiar, because not all company is kind. Some people drain you with their chaos, their gossip, their constant complaints, their need to stay stuck and pull you down with them. And others, they lift you, not with hype or perfection, but with calm, with honesty, with presence. The Stoics weren't isolated. They believed in friendship, but not friendship by default. They sought companionship that elevated the soul, sharpened the mind, protected one another's character like treasure. You see, it's not just about who makes you laugh. It's about who makes you better. Think of charcoal and roses. Spend too long beside charcoal and the soot stains you. Even if you don't touch it, it lingers. Spend time near roses. And even if you leave empty-handed, you carry the scent. That's what the right people do. They leave something fragrant on your soul. So, how do you begin to choose better? You start by noticing. Ask after time with this person. Do I feel more clear or more cloudy? Do I feel seen or drained? Do I become more me or less? You don't have to cut people out in anger, but you can set gentle distance. You can invest more in the relationships that light you up. And you can create new ones with people who share your values, not just your history. Friendship isn't obligation. It's alignment. It's soul-to-soul resonance. And when you find it, it changes everything, because your emotional well-being doesn't exist in a vacuum. It breathes the air of your environment. And when the air is clean, you'll breathe deeper, stand taller, feel safer. Now, pause, breathe, and reflect who in your orbit leaves you smelling of roses after every talk. Let that question linger, and when you find your answer, nurture that bond, protect it, water it like a garden, because your peace deserves a circle that honors it. Number 7, review the day like a kind mentor. The sun dips below the horizon, and the day is over. You lie in bed staring at the ceiling, a flicker of regret, a loop of overthinking. Why did I say that I should have done more? I forgot again. And the critic inside you steps forward, harsh, unrelenting, picking apart every imperfect moment. You feel it, don't you, that heaviness? The way a single misstep can stain the whole day. But the Stoics, they ended their days differently, not with shame, not with avoidance, but with gentle reflection. When the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, I examine my entire day and go back over what I've done and said. Seneca. This wasn't punishment. It wasn't perfectionism. It was growth guided by compassion. You see, the Stoic end-of-day ritual was a sacred moment, a quiet return, a conversation with the self, not as an enemy, but as a mentor, noticing where you stood tall and where you stumbled and where you can walk better tomorrow. Imagine this, a craftsman each night sharpening his tools. Not angry, not dramatic, just steady, careful, so that tomorrow's cuts are clean. You can do this too. Here's how. Before you sleep, ask yourself 3 questions. 1. What did I do well today? 2. Where did I fall short? 3. What can I improve tomorrow with kindness? Not 5 pages, not a spiral, just a few honest lines, spoken aloud or written gently in a notebook. No scolding, no scorekeeping, only awareness and a commitment to try again. This creates emotional balance because you stop carrying guilt to bed and start carrying wisdom. You'll begin to trust yourself, to know that even when you falter, you return, you realign, you grow, and over time, this simple ritual becomes a kind of spiritual hygiene. You clean the mind, you release the static, you go to sleep clear, not cluttered, and the next day you walk with intention, not perfection, but awareness. You know your patterns, you've studied your triggers, you've honored your effort, and that is real self-respect. So tonight, before the phone calls you, before the screen numbs you, pause, sit quietly, ask, which small habit deserves a finer edge tonight? Then answer it, gently, lovingly, and sleep not with shame, but with strength. Number 8, turn obstacles into opportunities. You planned it, you prepared, you had it all mapped out, and then it broke. The project failed, the person changed, the world didn't cooperate, and now you sit in the wreckage, frustrated, confused, asking yourself, why now, why me? It's easy to think that life is against you, that the universe is blocking your path. But the Stoics, they saw something else. They believed obstacles weren't barriers, they were bridges. Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Seneca. You don't get stronger in comfort. You don't grow by floating downstream. You grow when life resists you, and you respond, not retreat. It's like this: imagine a river. A rock stands in its path, but the river doesn't stop, doesn't scream. It flows around it, carving new paths. Over time, it shapes valleys, canyons, even mountains. The obstacle becomes the masterpiece. This is Stoic alchemy, the transformation of hardship into power, struggle into self-respect, delay into depth. But how do you live this, especially when the obstacle hurts? Here's one way. Start a small habit called the obstacle journal. Each time you feel blocked, whether it's anger, rejection, failure, write down 3 things. 1. What happened? 2. What this could teach you. 3. How it might make you stronger. You don't have to believe it fully yet. You just have to look. Over time, you'll notice something. Patterns, lessons, growth. That heartbreak, it taught you boundaries. That delay, it gave you patience. That mistake, it revealed your real values. You'll stop seeing life as a series of unfair attacks and start seeing it as a custom-built training ground for your highest self. And here's the magic. When you treat obstacles like opportunities, you stop fearing them. You welcome the challenge. You expect the test, not out of masochism, but out of maturity. Because now you're not just reacting, you're responding with power. So next time you're hit with a setback, pause. Look at it not as a wall, but as a weight to lift. And ask yourself, what canyon might your current boulder carve in the landscape of your life? That image, hold it. Let it humble you. Let it embolden you. Because when you choose to shape the struggles instead of being shaped by it, you become someone no setback can break. You become unshakable. So here you are. We began this journey in a storm, a mind filled with noise, a heart stretched thin, a search for something steadier, something deeper. And now you've touched stillness. Not the loud, performative calm, but that gentle, grounded quiet that the Stoics carried through fire, through exile, through grief. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. Remember that it was the spark that lit this entire path. But let's be honest, life won't slow down just because you've learned this. People will still disappoint you. Obstacles will still rise. Fear will still knock. And if you don't pause, if you let these lessons fade like morning mist, you'll slip back. Back into overthinking, into reactivity, into chasing peace instead of creating it. So what's the difference now? You've seen the way through, you've met the tools, you've practiced the questions, you've felt what it's like to breathe. When you used to break, now you know how to return. Because Stoicism isn't a mood, it's not motivation, it's a compass one you carry inside you, quietly pointing home. So tonight or tomorrow, when things start to unravel, stop. Choose one principle, just one. Apply it and watch the moment shift. And if this journey spoke to something in you, if it soothed a wound you couldn't name, then let's keep walking. There's more ahead, more reflection, more insight, more calm waiting to be reclaimed. You're welcome to subscribe, not as a follower, but as a fellow traveler. Until then, carry the quiet forward. One breath, one choice, one Stoic step at a time.